Question. Question 1. Sue three, four, five. Question 6, 7, 8. Question 9. 9B full question. Question 10 is all for Sec 2. Holiday homework. Holiday homework for week 2. Question 1. Express this expression as a single fraction in its simplest form. Okay, so when we want to add three fractions together, first of all, we have to look for the common denominator. Okay, common denominator of the three fractions. And you can see one of them is x minus 1. This one is x squared minus x. This is x. So these two are related. If we were to factorize this, it will be x times x minus 1. Okay, so now we are going to find the common denominator of x minus 1 and x times x minus 1. So these three denominators, the common denominator will be the product x times x minus 1. So x times x minus 1 is the common denominator. So for the first fraction, and x is multiplied to the denominator. So we have to multiply the same x to the numerator. For the second fraction, there's nothing multiplied, so the number is just 5. Whereas for the third fractions here, we have x minus 1 multiplied to the denominator, so we multiply x minus 1 to the numerator also. So now we have this x minus 1 squared. Okay, multiply in 2x squared plus x plus 5, minus away, expansion of this is x squared minus 2xy, so negative and negative becomes a positive, so 2x, and then plus x with the negative in front, so it's minus 1. So we have here these terms, and so we simplify x squared, which gets you 2x squared minus x squared is x squared, and then we have 1x and then 2x, so together is 3x, and then 5 minus 1 is 4. And that's all. Even if we can factorize the numerator, there's no way that we can make it into x minus 1 x is factor. So that means we will stop here. So this is our answer. Question 2. Miss Tan drove 600 km to Malaysia. Her car can travel a distance of x km for every litre of petrol used. Write down the number of litres of petrol that Miss Tan used to travel 600 km in terms of x. So the number of litres will be 600 divided by x. since it can travel x km for every liter. So this is the amount of petrol use, because the question asks for the number of liters, so this one will be just the number, so we don't have to write the units here. Next one, Mr. Lee's car can travel x minus 2 km for every liter of petrol use. So write down the number that Mr. Lee will use. So that will be 600 divided by x minus 2. Okay, and then we are told that Mr. Lee's car uses 10 liters of petrol more than Miss Tan's car. So Mr. Lee's car uses this amount of petrol. Miss Tan's car uses this amount of petrol, and the difference is 10. Okay, so the difference is in liter, and subtract, you get 10. Okay, again, fractions, we want to combine and simplify. The common denominator will be x times x minus 2. So we're going to have 600 multiplied to the x, minus away 600 multiplied to the x minus 2, equals to 10 multiplied to x multiplied to x minus 2. So we have 600x, 600x, so cancel out. So we have 1200 equals to 10x squared minus 20x. Okay, simplify, so we get x squared minus 2x, we divide by 10. Okay, so x squared minus 2x, okay, and then this one subtract on both sides, so you get negative, okay, negative 120 equals to 0. So this is the expression, this is the equation that we're supposed to show. Okay, first step, common denominator, then expand, simplify, and get this one. Okay, then solve the equation and hence find the number of liters of petrol used by Mr. Lee. So we can factorize this using the cross method. 120, we will use 12 and 10, and if we want the middle term to be negative 2, we put the negative 12 here and put a positive 10 here. So we are going to get negative 12x plus 10x, so together is negative 2x. Okay, so we can factorize it to be x minus 12 multiplied with x plus 10 equals to 0. So x equals to 12 or x equals to negative 10. But since x is actually the distance in km, so it cannot be a negative number. So this value of x equals to negative 10 is going to be rejected. So now the question asks for the number of liters of petrol used by Mr. Lee. So number of petrol used by Mr. Lee will be 600 divided by 12 minus 2, which is 60 liters. Okay, next part. Miss Tan started her journey at 11:45, traveled at an average speed of 80 km per hour. Find the time she reaches Malaysia. Okay, so the time taken by Miss Tan will be 600 divided by 80, and this is in terms of hours. So we do by calculation, use a calculator, we get 7 hours 30 minutes. 7 hours 30 minutes. So if she starts her journey at 11:45, so what is the time to reach Malaysia? Okay, so time to reach Malaysia will be equals to 11:45 and then plus 730. And so we are getting a 19:15. Okay, 11 plus 7 is 18, but because 45 plus 30, that will be 75. So bring 1 unit forward. So you have 60 minutes, bring forward. So left with 15 minutes. So this is the answer. Question 3. Question 3, you want to find the value, that means evaluate. Okay, so to evaluate this indices, so first of all we see there's a negative sign here, so we're going to flip the fraction to be 64 over 343, and so the negative power is gone. Okay, next, 64 is 4 to the power of 3, and then 343 is 7 to the power of 3. So I can say this is 4 to the power of 4 and 4 over 7 to the power of 3. Then originally there was a raise of power of 2/3. So therefore that will be 3 times 2/3. So 3 times 2/3, that will be square. And so this is 16 over 49. 16 over 49. Okay, next part is to simplify. Okay, simplify this expression. So to simplify, okay, for this one is easy. We have 3 to the power 3, a negative 2 to the power 3, and b squared to the power 3. But this one is to the power of negative 2. So to the power of negative 2, I want to get rid of the negative power. I will bring it to the denominator. This whole thing, bring it to the denominator. So that will be raised to the power of 2. Okay, so I'm having 6 to the power of 2, a cubed to the power of 2, and b negative 2 to the power 2. Okay, so I will get 27, a to the power negative 6, b power 6, and I have 36, a power 6, b power negative 4. So now I'm going to simplify. Okay, 27 divided by 36 is 3 over 4. And this a power negative 6, and I have a power 6. So the negative 6, I can put it to the denominator so that the power becomes positive. And so it becomes a power 6 at the new denominator. So a power 6, that will be a power 12. As for this b power negative 4, I can remove the negative power by flipping it to the numerator. Okay, so flipping it to the numerator, so I have b4 on top. So b4 and b6, that will be b10. So this is my answer. Okay, simplify. Okay, we try to leave everything to positive indices. Okay, question 3b, to simplify. This one looks rather complicating expression. Okay, so how are we going to do this question? Okay, I choose to consider the numerator combined together, then the denominator combined together. Okay, so for the numerator to combine together, I have x minus 2 as the common denominator. So I have x minus 2 plus 2. Okay, then the divide by this value here, that means multiply the reciprocal. So my 2x minus 3 will now become the denominator, and 2x squared minus 5x plus 3, if I factorized it, I'm going to get 2x. This is negative 2x, negative 3x, so together is negative 5x. So I'm going to get 2x minus 3 multiply with x minus 1. Okay, simplify this, I get x over x minus 2. And when I simplify the second fraction, these two terms are actually the same. So I divide both numerator and denominator by 2x minus 3. So I'll get 1, 1. So times x minus 1. So therefore, my final answer is x times x minus 1 divided by x minus 2. Question 4a. To factorize an expression like this. Okay, can you see that it's already arranged with the a squared a and then constant term? So it's the other way around. So I'm going to do this. 6 is 2 times 3. And then this negative 3a squared, can I put it to be 3a and negative a? So multiply together is negative 3a squared. These two multiply together is 6. And 3 times 3 is 9a. 2 times a is negative 2a. So together I have 7a, which is the middle term. So using this cross method, we can get our answer like this. Okay. Next one, question 4b. It contains 4 terms. Usually for 4 terms, we will do grouping. Okay, so we'll group this to q is a common factor, so I have p plus 3. And then can I also take 2 out, a negative 2 out? So I'm going to get p plus 3 also, because you want to factorize. So if there's a common factor of if there's a factor of p plus 3, that means this one must also have a p plus 3 in order for them to be common factor to continue factorizing. Okay, so now the common factor is p plus 3. So when I bring p plus 3 out, I'll get q minus 2. So the answer would be just p plus 3 multiplied with q minus 2. Question 5. I'm supposed to solve this equation. Please do not go and expand it. This is already factorized. So if it's already factorized, I can continue from here. So I will have x minus 4 will be a 7, or x minus 4 is a negative 7. Okay, because x minus 4 squared is 49. So square root of 49 is 7 or negative 7. So x will be equals to 7 plus 4, or x equals to 4 minus 7. So x is either an 11 or x is equals to negative 3. So these are the answers. That is for question 5a. Question 5b. See that on the right hand side, there's this number 20. You can't say, oh, this one is 4, this one is 5, or this one is 2, this one is 10. If you were going to do that way, then there will be a lot of possible answers, because you can prime factorize this 20 into like 1. Okay, you can factorize this 20 into 1 times 20, 2 times 10, 4 times 5, and 5 times 4, etc. Right? Okay, so the important thing is we must change this into a 0. So if we were to change this to be a 0, which means I have to expand this out, because there's a term of 15 here and there's a 20 here. I'm going to combine them. So when I expand this, I get x squared plus 3x minus 5x minus 15. And then I take the 20, subtract from both sides, so that my 20 is gone over to the other side. So now we get 0 to one side. So we're going to use now factor law. So we're going to have x squared minus 2x, okay, minus 35 equals to 0. So x 35 is 7 times 5. Okay, I put a minus here and a plus here, so that I'm getting negative 7x plus 5x, which is negative 2x. So x minus 7 times x plus 5 equals to 0. So it's either the first bracket is a 0 or the second bracket is a 0. If the first bracket is a 0, x is equals to 7. If the second bracket is a 0, x equals to negative 5. So these are the answers. Question 6a, to factorize again. And then you see that this part is already factorized. So I need to factorize this one. Please don't go and expand. Expand is the reverse of factorization. What we need is to check these two. Okay, what is the common factor? You can see that the common factor is a squared. So you're going to have 1 plus 2b from these two terms. Okay, I factorize to this. And so I have 1 plus 2b as a common factor. Okay, so I'm going to take the 1 plus 2b out, so that for the first one I'm getting a squared. For the second term I'm getting a negative 16. We don't stop here, okay, because this factorization is not complete yet, because this one can further be factorized, although this one cannot. Okay, so the second brackets can be further factorized to be a plus 4 times a minus 4. So this is then complete. Okay, next, question 6b, m plus 7 squared minus 81. So I can say this is m plus 7 squared minus 9 squared. So isn't this a squared minus b squared will be a plus b times a minus b. So we are going to factorize it to be a plus b, a plus b, multiply with a minus b. So therefore, we have m plus 16 times m minus 2. So that's all factorized already. Okay. Question 7, there is a straight line which has equation of x minus 2y equals to 10. We are told that this point k and 3k is a point on the straight line. So how do we determine the value of k? So since this point is a point on the straight line, that means when we substitute x equals to k and y equals to 3k into the equation, it should satisfy the equation. So therefore, k minus 2 times 3k is equals to 10. So k minus 6k equals to 10. So negative 5k equals to 10. So k is actually negative 2. Question 8. Simplify this expression. There's division, there's multiplication. So what we need to do is, you have fractions, divide, times. So you're going to handle fractions. So the best way to simplify is to try to factorize and then see whether there's any factor that's the same that we can divide together so that they are cancelled. Okay, so we first factorize the numerator. 2 is a common factor, take 2 out. So we have 2 times a minus 3. And this denominator is a perfect square. Can you see this is a squared? This is 2 squared. And this middle term is 2 times of a times a 2, which is negative 4. Right, so we are going to have a minus 2 squared. Divide means multiply, is reciprocal. So 4 is a common factor, take out. So you have 4 times a minus 3. As for this a squared plus a minus 6, we can factorize it to be a plus 3 and a minus 2. So that would be a squared plus a minus 6. Multiply with 1 over a plus 3. Okay, so now we see which are the terms, which are the factors that we can cancel. Okay, divide numerator, denominator by a minus 3. So these two are gone. Divide numerator, denominator by a plus 3. These two terms gone. And now divide numerator and denominator by a minus 2. So there's 1 here, there's 2 here, so 1 cancelled, so left with 1 more. So therefore, the 2 and the 4 divide both numerator denominator by 2, so we're having a 2 here. So 2 times 2 is 4. So there's no more term already except for 2 and a minus 2. So therefore, the answer is 2 times a minus 2. And you don't have to expand it, okay? Just leave it in the factorized form. Question 9. You have a pair of simultaneous linear equations and you are given that x equals to 1 and y equals to -1 are the solution. So when x and y having these two values, we know that when we substitute these two values into the equation, it should satisfy the equation. Okay, so we're going to put them into the equation. So we substitute, okay, substitute into 1, we are getting a minus 2 equals b. Okay, and then if we substitute into equation 2, so 1 times 4 is 4 minus b times y is -1, which means I'm having a plus b, then equals to 2a minus 1. So I have here equation 1 Okay, let me simplify this to be b equals to 2a minus 5. So equation 1a and equation 2a, I substitute equation 2a into 1a. So I have a minus 2 is 2a minus 5. So 2a minus a equals to -2 plus 5. So a is actually equals to 3. So when a equals to 3, what about b? So b will be equals to, substitute a equals to 3, you have b equals to a minus 2, so 3 minus 2, which is a 1. So therefore a is 3, b is 1. So a minus 2b will be 3 minus 2 times 1, which is a 1. So this is the answer for a minus 2b. Next is a question on the graph. You are given 4 lines, and you are supposed to name the equation of the line. Okay, line 1 is a horizontal line. Line 1 is a vertical line, and it passes through the point -4.5. -4.5. So if it's a vertical line, so we can say that the equation will be x equals to -4.5. Line 2. Line 2 is a horizontal line that passes through the point y equals to 3. So we say that the equation of the line 2 is y equals to 3. Okay, next, look at line 3. Line 3 has a y-intercept at 2, and the gradient is a negative value, -2 divided by 1. So it's -2. So therefore, the equation will be y equals to -2x plus 2. So that is for line 3. Line 4. Line 4, the y-intercept is at -4. Now, what about the gradient? For gradient, you have to find 2 points that are good points for you to determine the gradient. We can see that if I choose the point of 0 and -4, and the other point is 2, 2, I'll be able to see that the gradient of the line is actually equals to 3. Why 3? Because I can see that the vertical increase is a 6 and the horizontal increase is a 2. So the gradient is a 3. So therefore the equation is now y equals to 3x minus 4. So this is the equations. This is the equation for line 4, line 3, line 2, and line 1. For the answer for question 10, this is a graph that you should get. And then these are the values for all the answers or for the various parts. Check out and see. You're getting the same answer